SCUF are well known for making some very high-end and very customizable controllers for both consoles and PCs, and to be fair, they're pretty good at it, regularly topping lists when you go searching for the best controllers you can get. They've now taken that controller expertise and poured it into this, the Nomad, a controller specifically for your iPhone, allowing you to break free from your desk or sofa and get some gaming done while you're out and about on the go. Let's see what this controller can do, shall we? Hi guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Kit Guru. So this certainly isn't the first device of this kind that we've seen on the market. The most popular of mobile controllers probably being the Backbone, but it is the first one that I've had a chance to look at in the flesh. Pricing is competitive on the SCUF one that we're looking at today. It costs £100, which is the same as the Backbone if you pick one of those up or one of the SCUF ones, both directly from the manufacturer. There are sometimes offers here and there on the internet, but if you go direct to source, they both cost the same. There's plenty on the spec sheet of the Nomad to like. Hall effect analog sticks, it's got up to 16 hours of battery life, completely customizable and remappable buttons, and a symmetrical stick layout. Let's kick things off with an unboxing and a look at that layout and a bit of a look at the build quality. The Nomad comes in a pretty standard box with a few details regarding the specs on the back and a picture of the controller on the front. Opening up that box and you'll find a QR code printed on the inside which will link you to the install for the companion app for your iPhone. I'll go through the setup process in a bit more detail in a minute. Included with the controller in the box, you'll get a braided USB Type-A to Type-C cable for charging, a spare set of convex thumbstick toppers. The set that are installed by default or when you get it out of the box are concave. The spare set that come in this little tiny box are different heights as well to help with grip and precision when you're aiming and stuff like that. And then you also get this small rubber piece which attaches to the bottom edge of the Nomad and helps to counteract the big camera bumps on phones like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. First impressions of the Nomad were great. The shape is really comfortable to hold. I love that the analog sticks are placed symmetrically because like most people's, my thumbs are pretty much the same size, so it makes sense for the controls that sit under them to be placed equally on both the left and right hand side of the controller. The grips themselves feel really good. They're shaped pretty much perfectly for my hands. Holding the Nomad in your hand when you're using it feels great. SCUF have got the ergonomics of this device pretty much spot on. The back of each grip is coated in a rubberized, grippy material which works really well in adding some needed grip, as the front, in contrast to that back, is a smooth, soft touch plastic. The analog sticks, triggers and shoulder buttons and the paddles on the back all sit exactly where your hands do. There's no need to play finger gymnastics when you're trying to reach them. The D-pad and ABXY buttons do require a little bit of movement to reach though, but it's nothing too crazy and you could remap them to the paddles if you wanted to anyway. The analog sticks feel crisp and responsive and both have a nice tactile click when you push them in. As do the ABXY buttons and the D-pad. Everything feels well made and satisfyingly clicky, as we'd kind of expect from a SCUF controller. The triggers feel good and quite robust. Their shape reminds me of the triggers on a PS5 controller if you've ever held one of those. I do think they could be a slight bit bigger, but they're okay. I'd like to feel them under my fingers a little bit more though. Aside from the main buttons that I've just mentioned, there are also 4 more buttons on the top of the Nomad. A home button at the top left, which is pretty self-explanatory. A SCUF button in the top right, which can be pressed to do stuff like take screenshots and start video recordings of your gameplay. Then down the bottom there are options and menu buttons for navigating through the companion app and through various games. Then finally, on the very bottom, the underside of the controller, you've got a Bluetooth button for putting the device in pairing mode and connecting to an iPhone. Now, I mentioned an iPhone specifically then because the Nomad is only compatible with devices that are running iOS version 16 or above, which is pretty much every iPhone since the 8 and the 8 Plus, I believe. I have read online that SCUF are working on an Android app for the Nomad, but as it stands at the time of making this review, it's iPhone only. which strikes me as very strange and a little bit frustrating, to be honest. The Nomad has the official made for iPhone accreditation, so I'm going to hazard a guess that a deal's been done somewhere along the line for exclusivity with Apple, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyone using an Android device is out of luck at the moment. SCUF, please release Android support as fast as you can. Setting the Nomad up is very straightforward. If you scan that QR code that I showed in the unboxing section, that will take you to the App Store download for the companion app. Get that installed and then it will guide you step by step. And it literally is step by step. In 2 steps, you'll be in the app and browsing games. You just power on the device, connect the Bluetooth, and then you're good to go. It's simple to set up and it's worked flawlessly for me. I've never had any issues with the setup or connecting it to the phone. The companion app is laid out pretty well. It'll show you recommended games which have full controller support, but then you can also filter the Apple App Store to show games like that too. The recommended games tab is useful, but one thing I think could be improved upon is that it will show you all games regardless of whether they're free to play or if you already own them in the case of pay to play games. Take Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for an example. I don't own that game for iOS, so when I select it, a little pop-up appears letting me know that I can buy it for $6.99, which is useful in itself, but it'd be nice to be able to easily differentiate between pay-to-play games and then like free-to-play games like Genshin Impact, for example. You can add any games to the My Games tab to quickly find and launch them. Then the Game Launchers section houses shortcuts to cloud gaming services like Xbox Game Pass and PS Remote Play, and then Apple Arcade as well. All of those require either purchasing games or paying for a subscription. And then mentioning subscriptions, the SCUF app itself doesn't require any subscription at all. All features are free, unlike the Backbone app, which locks some of its features behind a subscription paywall. There's a gallery in the app for viewing all of your captured screenshots and videos. Those captured screenshots and videos are all stored on device and they can be captured up to 4K on the iPhone 15 Pro Max that I used for testing in this review. Then finally, the app settings screen allows you to customize the Nomad to a pretty crazy extent, and it really shows the level of pro controller expertise that SCUF are known for. Both the triggers and the analog sticks have adjustable actuation curves and dead zones. There are 4 different curve presets available for each, which will change how the controller will respond to inputs. You got gradual inputs for racing titles, and then more sudden and more impactful curves for shooters and that sort of thing. Almost all buttons can be remapped, and you can save your setups to custom profiles and link them to different games. There are options for changing the resolution, frame rate and codec that's used when you record the gameplay as well. That was nice to see and not something I expected. Overall, the level of customization in the app is much more in-depth than I thought it would be. This is a Bluetooth phone controller after all, and the software has worked flawlessly for me ever since I installed it, as I mentioned earlier. The only thing that disappointed me was the lack of Android support, as I mentioned earlier. Fingers crossed that arrives sooner rather than later. If you're looking for a new chair, then you should definitely check out Booley's. I'm currently sat on their Ninja Pro gaming chair, which is one of 3 models from their gaming series alongside the Elite and the Master. So if you're looking for something new to stick in your setup that you can sit on and game and work, then I recommend definitely checking out boolies.co.uk. Now, it's no secret to anyone that's a regular viewer of the channel that we usually stick to PC gaming here at Kit Guru, and that's no different with me as well. More often than not, I play my games sitting at my desk on my PC. I'll occasionally have a stint of playing on my PlayStation, but PC is where 99% of my gaming takes place. Mobile gaming has only ever stretched as far as stuff like 8-ball pool for me, mainly due to not enjoying using a touchscreen to play anything more involved than that. This device, the Nomad, has single-handedly changed that. It's transformed a phone into a handheld console that rings occasionally. It works very, very well and I've enjoyed using it. I've played games remotely from my PlayStation. I've streamed stuff from Xbox Game Pass. I tried out Steam Remote Play via the Steam Link app, and I played stuff that's installed locally on the device as well, and the Nomad has never skipped a beat. The controls feel smooth and responsive, and there's hardly any input delay. Not that I noticed anyway, and not for that you'd really be bothered by on sort of casual phone gaming. Playing first-person shooters, Call of Duty Mobile in particular, was a good experience. My skills with a controller in general are way, way below how I play on a mouse and keyboard, but I still had a fun time playing that game. Racing games like Forza, as we all know, they're pretty horrible on a mouse and keyboard, let alone on a touchscreen. And the Nomad, coupled with an Xbox Game Pass streaming subscription, or the Game Pass subscription that allows you to stream, it solves that issue and it makes the game accessible when you're on the go. Obviously, the streaming part is dependent on signal if you're going to stream over your mobile connection, but playing in that way while connected to a decent Wi-Fi network is really good though. It's not as smooth or as responsive as playing on a PC, but if we're going to be realistic, it was never going to be, and no one expects it to be, not yet anyway, maybe in a few years when game streaming has really come on a bit. Gaming for a decent amount of time when using the Nomad does highlight two things that I think it's missing hardware-wise though. The first being a headphone jack. Yes, you can use Bluetooth headphones, but not everyone has Bluetooth headphones or wants to use Bluetooth headphones. And the second thing is charging pass-through for the phone that's installed. Gaming on any phone drains your battery pretty quickly, so it would be nice to be able to charge the Nomad while playing, which of course you can via the USB-C port, but then have that charge pass through to the phone at the same time. Adding those two quality of life features would improve the experience quite a bit in my opinion. All in all then, I've liked gaming using the Nomad a lot more than I thought I would. I've not yet tried any of the handhelds that are on the market like Steam Decks or ROG Allies and that sort of stuff, and this little controller from SCUF feels like a cheaper way to get a similar sort of experience. Most people have a phone already, so why not turn it into a portable gaming machine? That's pretty much what the Nomad does and what it's designed to do. If you're already subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, which a lot of people are, you can stick this on your phone and access loads of games and play them on the go. But as I mentioned earlier, you can only stick this on your iPhone. If you use an Android phone like I do, then it's a no-go for now. I had to borrow my partner's iPhone just to test this thing out and use it for the review. Not supporting Android is a strange decision that's literally splitting the potential user base in half. Not exactly by half, but it's alienating a lot of people that might potentially want to try this out. But if you do have an iPhone, then I highly recommend this controller. It's a lot of fun and it's great if you have some downtime while you're out and about. It'd be a little more convenient if it had those two features that I mentioned, a headphone jack and power pass-through, but hopefully that's maybe something SCUF can add onto a Nomad V2. And that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like down below if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with the latest PC gaming news and reviews. And go down below the video to find links to our merch store, and then in the description you'll find links to our Discord server, our Patreon page and our website if you want to check any of that out. Anyway guys, I've been Matt. This on the table behind me has been the SCUF Nomad mobile controller. I'll speak to you in the next one. Look after yourselves. See you later.